Hello everyone, welcome to the show. Hari Om. I would like to start this session with a mantra. So please just look, just hear it out. So I'll start. Om Bhurva Bhuvaswaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Hari Om, Jai Jhulelal. So my name is Vishal Wadhwani. I will be hosting the show today. So this is a continuation of Sanskriti and Sanskar. Today we are having a special session on astrology. So we have a panel of speakers, which I will introduce to you now. So we have the guest of honor today. Her name is Srimati Priyanka Dhaka, and she's an astrologer by profession. She's a tarot reader, healer, and a life coach. So, hello, Priyanka ji. Can we have her online?
Yeah, a very
How are
warm
you? Hari
namaste
Om.
to each one
Yeah,
of you.
namaste,
Many
namaste.
blessings. God bless
Welcome
you
to
over
our
here.
show.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to our
Thank
show.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I will quickly introduce her. She is a firm believer that the value in astrology is only by gaining strength to rise above the pain and overcome the shortcomings. She believes that karma cannot be avoided, and the results of your karmas are inevitable. You have to face them, that is for sure, and it will always keep affecting your life. She started her career as an HR manager, but then she realized that she has a special gift of foretelling the future, and she's an astrologer now. She's been practicing astrology since last 20 years, and she has clients across large families, corporations, industries, and many more other areas. And people ask her that can astrological guidance change your destiny? She says yes to it, surprisingly, but subject to. She says that it should be at the right time, at the right with the right code of conduct, and right method. It can be changed for sure. Right, Priyanka ji? Great.
Very,
She
very true.
she works in areas of marriage, business, career, and many other walks of life. She is equipped with amazing intuitive personality, and she's a learning Vedic astrologer. She's a tarot card reader, and very interesting to know she is access bar healer, which she'll explain to us in detail in the show. Welcome,
Sure.
Priyanka ji. Welcome. Now, I would
My
like to
pleasure. My
introduce
pleasure
our.
being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome. Now, I would like to introduce our second panel speaker, Srimati Deepa Hemrajani. Can she be online? Welcome, Deepa ji. Welcome to the show. Hari
Thank
Om.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, great. So Deepa ji started her career in aviation industry, and she's always been a high flyer, what she says. But and then over the period of time, then she's a mother to a young teenage son. I can call him Prince, right? So
Yes.
with a very heavy heart, she had to send her son for a better future to a boarding school. And then Deepa ji is free because children are not in the house. And then she started following her, following herself in her passion, whatever passion she must have not finished during her work and family life. Now she has ample time to finish that. So she started baking professionally at home, right, Deepaji? So she's a baker. If you want to eat good cakes, you can always contact her. And she also has interest in nutrition, and also she's always excited about new opportunities, and she keeps missing her son all the time. Welcome, Deepaji. This was a short introduction. We'll hear about you more during the show. Now,
Thank you.
our final panel speaker, I would like to invite Mr. Anil Jetwani. Welcome, Anilji. Welcome to the show. Hari Om.
Hariom Vishal, Hariom Priyanka and Deepa.
Hariom.
Anil ji is a dear friend. I know him since last 25 years. He's an amazing human being. I've learned a lot from him in my life. And I would like to introduce him. He's founder of a company called Naveen Electronics. It's the largest chain of electronic stores in Surat. And he has built this entire business from scratch, starting from nothing, and he's reached to a great height. So in Surat, everybody knows Naveen Electronics. Everybody knows Mr. He's always on radio, on TV, and he's all over there. He's a page 3 personality in Surat. His other interests are he's a motivational speaker. He likes motivational talks. He speaks himself, and he's associated with almost all the motivational speakers around. They know him personally because of his passion into this area. And he's also a team member of a very famous motivational speaker, Sonu Sharma. He has about millions of followers. So he's very well associated. Actually, he's a team member. Also, he's associated with Surat Chamber of Commerce, where he helps young entrepreneurs, new upcoming businessmen to grow in life, and he does a lot of mentoring for them. Welcome, Anilji. We'll hear more about you during the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful introduction, and I am grateful to you and your entire team. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. So we have finished the introduction session.
Honored.
Now, yeah, thank you, Anilji. So we have finished the introduction session. Now I would invite Shri Dayal Harjani, Aka Dadu Zen, as he is famously known. Dada, welcome. Hariom.
Jai Sri Krishna.
He's
Jai Sri Ram.
He's a life coach, he's an author.
Welcome to all the viewers. आप सभी को ये नए साल की शुभकामनाएं. Happy New Year to all of you who are watching. And namaskaram to our guest of honor, Priyanka ji, and Deepa ji, and Anil ji. And namaskar to, and I should say howdy America to Vishal. He has just come back from California.
Thank you,
hello.
Thank you. Howdy.
So before we start the program today, I would like to thank our sponsors for the last 8 shows, and from my bottom of my heart, that is Sonu and Manju Vaswani from Hong Kong, who have sponsored the last 8 shows. And prior to that, it was Rajesh and Seema Mirpuri who had also sponsored the last 8 shows. So 16 shows has been sponsored by these 2 individuals. अब आज जो मन की बात है, एक महत्वपूर्ण विषय पे हम बात करेंगे आज. अगले बार हमने नारद मुनि के वचनों पे थोड़ा कुछ सीखा था, और नारद मुनि कह के गए हैं कि दुनिया में जो भी रिश्तेदार हैं वो कच्चे धागे के जैसे हैं, और कच्चे धागे के क्यों है वो हमें बताते हैं कि ये जीवन में कभी खुशी कभी गम, या कभी टूटे कभी रूस. So people are always having these kind of relationship problems with each other, and कारण बताते हैं why. Because हर एक इंसान में अपने मात्रा में कुछ अवगुण, कुछ विकार होते हैं, और नारद मुनि कहते हैं एक पहले मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट विकार जो है वो है ईगो, उसको बोलते हैं अहंकार. फिर होते हैं सेंशुअल अर्जेस यानी कि कामनाएं. फिर होता है सेल्फिशनेस यानी कि स्वार्थ. फिर बताते हैं अर्जेस यानी कि आग्रह या वासना कहें. फिर कहते हैं कि इच्छा या अभिलाषा. एंड that stands for desire, and the other is expectation, जिसको हम हिंदी में कहते हैं उपेक्षा, और फिर है भय, और दूसरा है ग्रीड यानी कि लोभ। अभी हम चर्चा करेंगे जो पहले ईगो पर, वो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। इट्स a 3-letter word, but it has got 1,000 words to explain and various interpretation. Abhi, according to Western philosophy and research, they define ego as self-esteem, self-worth, self-importance and self-interest. अब जब सेल्फ इंटरेस्ट बढ़ जाता है तो इसको हम कहते हैं ईगोइज्म। जब सेल्फ इम्पोर्टेंस बढ़ जाता है उसको हम कहते हैं ईगोटिज्म, और जब ईगोटिज्म हाई बढ़ जाता है तो उसको बोलते हैं हम ईगोसेंट्रिक, और जब सब ये चार बातें एक्सेस में हो जाते हैं तो उसको बोलते हैं हम ईगोमेनिया। तो ये रही वेस्टर्न फिलॉसफी एंड थॉट। पर हमारे यहाँ जो संतों की विचारधारा है वो थोड़ी सी अलग है। वो डिफाइन करते हैं एट द बेसिक रूट भाई व्हाट रियली इज ईगो एंड हाउ इट हैपेंस। तो वो उनका कहना है कि जब वो कहते हैं अहंकार, माना अहम कार, माना जब अहम सोच रहे हैं कि मैं करता हूं तो ये एक किस्म की ईगो है। फिर दूसरी विचारधारा है कि जब आत्मा तन मन से जुड़ जाता है तो उस कंडीशन को, ये जुड़ने की जो भी बात होती है उसको हम अहंकार कहते हैं। अंग्रेजी में हम एक्सप्लेन करें in a different way is that when the soul gets identified, remember this word identified because it's all about identification. When the soul gets identified with the body, mind and emotion, that is by mind body complex, so at that particular time the ego is in motion. अब ये condition is a very complex and very tricky situation. What happens at the very base, once you get identified with your body and your mind, like sometimes you say भाई मेरा तबीयत ठीक नहीं है, या मैं मोटा हो गया, मैं पतला हो गया हूँ, फिर बोलेंगे मैं सोच रहा हूँ, या फिर बोलेंगे कि मेरे को गुस्सा आया, तो माना you are constantly identifying yourself with the body, mind and emotions. फिर क्या होता है जब when your whole identification gets crystallized further, then you become identified with your name, भाई मैं कौन हूँ, या you get identified with your form, then you get identified with your family name, then you get identified with the wealth you have or your fame that you have, and you get identified as role that you play in life, as a profession. I am so and so, I'm a doctor, I'm a artist, or I'm a brother, I'm a father, I'm a mother. So we keep on adding identification after identification till mankind remains trapped in the cage of the psychological bondage. And the whole idea of spirituality is to disconnect, to detach yourself and bring you back to the reality of who I am. पर ये बात हम फिर करेंगे in the next show. पर ये रही a basic idea of the word ego, and if we all can understand this, I think we have a long way to improvement and improve our lifestyle and responses in life. Up in our basic into the tradition, I would like to welcome our guests of honor and the panel speaker with this Kabir Doha. कहते हैं, can you put everybody on the screen, please? Pradeep ji. प्रियंका जी, ये एक साहिब कबीर की एक दुआ है जो normally what I do, I have a book called Kabir Speaks. So before the show, I just open any page at random. So whichever page comes, I just read it out to you.
Wonderful.
This speaks. There are 300 translations of Sahib Kabir in that. तो साहब बोलते हैं, पहली बुरा कमाई करी, बांधी बिसा की पोट, बांधी बिसा की पोट, कोटि करम, फिल पलक में आयो हरि की ओट. अभी इसका मतलब क्या है? I'll explain you the translation in English. कहते हैं, first you earn in dire sin. First you earn in dire sin. Poisonous bag upon yourself you install. In a moment, countless deed unable to recant when you receive Hari's last call. So install and call is a rhyming which we have
Right.
tried to do. So this couplet is a stern warning for all of us to conduct ourselves in a righteous manner. And those who earn ill-gotten wealth are in fact living in a bundle of poison wrapped around their body. When the last call comes from Lord Hari, Narayana, it will come without any notice. And at such a time, no one will be able to recount all the misdeeds nor have time to repent and seek forgiveness. So the idea is to act in a dharmic way as much as possible. Now with that, I will request Pradeep to bring in the Dole format that I made for you guys. I earlier told you, in the invite that life is a dole. So what is dole all about? So D stands for diabetes, H for hypertension, and O for obesity, and L for lipid imbalance. So that become DHOL, dole. So how do we resolve this dole problem? So the idea is to do Bhangra. And what is Bhangra dance? Mana first, B is for behavior change, H stands for happiness, A for active lifestyle, N for nutrition, G for glucose control, R for risk reduction, and last is abstinence from substance abuse. So life is a big challenge, is a dole, and the only way is to go for Bhangra. Now I'll say bye-bye to all of you and let Vishal continue his anchoring. He's my co-host today. So go ahead, Vishal. I'll see you.
Thank you.
after
Thank you.
Deepa's question answers over.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Sure. I will
Good luck.
invite you, Dada. Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Great. Thank you. So yeah, we are back. So I would like to invite Mr. Anil Jetwani, and I will ask him that please go ahead with your questions which you want to like to speak or discuss with Priyanka ji. Anil, over to you. You can start your question and answer. Sure. We can't hear you,
Anil ji, you
Anil.
are on
We
mute.
can't hear you. You are on mute. You are on mute.
Now audible? Now audible?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vishal, for giving me a great opportunity. And it was a great session by Dadujan. And highly, always we learn lot of things from Dadujan, right? Dadujan बोलते हैं तो हमारे लिए एक बहुत बड़ा मैसेज देके जाते हैं. और जो ढोल के बारे में अभी भी उन्होंने एक्सप्लेनेशन दिया, इट्स अमेजिंग, इट्स अल्टीमेट. So thank you so much, Vishal. And yes, we should come to the point. And Priyanka ji, I have a few questions because today is a very special day. A lot of people are with us online right now. We are live on Facebook and our YouTube channel. So a lot of people are there to ask so many questions. But pehla question I would like to ask you, regarding your expertise, regarding your passion and profession regarding to Jyotish Shastra, right? So may I ask a question, Priyanka? Can I start?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
So thank you so much, Priyanka, for giving me permission. So my first question is, how many components are there in Jyotish Shastra? Like, see, lot of confusion about Jyotish Shastra. People, हर एक अपना अपना इंटरप्रिटेशन करता है ज्योतिष शास्त्र को लेके. So क्या components होते हैं, किस तरीके से होता है, तो आप प्लीज इसके बारे में कुछ हमें गाइड करें. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you so much. And as you said, the session by Dadu Zen was great, and I will also say thanks to him first of all before starting. And now I'll come to your question. Rather than coming to your question first, I just brief a little bit so that I can connect to all of you and to the viewers also who are watching. So first thing, as my introduction was given, like I'm an astrologer and tarot card reader and a life coach and a healer and so many other things. So what am I talking today is what I have seen as a layman, when I did not know any of these things from my eyes of a layman, that what I see, that how basically a layman can understand. So like you talked about components, I'll not be giving you an answer from an astrological point of view. I'll be giving you an answer which any person will understand who doesn't understand astrology at all. आपको कुछ भी नहीं पता एस्ट्रोलॉजी के बारे में, बट स्टिल यू विल बी एबल टू कनेक्ट योरसेल्फ बिकॉज हम एक लेमैन की तरह बात करेंगे आज. नाउ द थिंग इज दिस, दैट all of us know, we all would have learned solar system in our classes when we were young. So हम सबने solar system पढ़ा. सिर्फ जो एस्ट्रोलॉजी है उसमें डिफरेंट ही आ जाता है. when we were studying the solar system in our classes, so sun used to be the main body. सन की बॉडी होती थी और उसके आसपास में सारे प्लैनेट्स घूमते थे. सारे प्लैनेट्स उसके आसपास में चक्कर लगाते थे. प्लैनेट्स के नाम होते थे मरकरी, वीनस, जुपिटर, एंड अर्थ आल्सो यूज्ड टू बी अ प्लैनेट. यूज्ड टू बी नहीं, इट इज स्टिल अ प्लैनेट. लेकिन व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट एस्ट्रोलॉजी, सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट द अर्थ बिकम्स द सन, और सारे प्लैनेट्स इंक्लूडिंग द सन इज आल्सो orbiting around the earth. So that is the first thing which we need to understand in astrology, is that astrology is geocentric. Geo is geography of the earth, and the solar system is helio, sun-centric. The sun is in the center and all the planets are actually moving around it. And earth is also a planet. Here what is happening is the geocentric thing. And of course, when we talk about the geocentric thing, then first component comes to be the planets. And sun also is a planet. What you have seen in the solar system, it's the other way around. Sun comes and take the place of the earth, and earth comes and takes the place of the sun, and then it becomes a geocentric thing. And the first component is of course 9 planets, and everything is dependent on the 9 planets and their movements, where they are moving, and when these planets are there, so every planet is assigned some sign. जो आप हॉरोस्कोप पढ़ते हैं, सन साइन पढ़ते हैं न्यूज़पेपर में, मैगजीन्स में, कहीं पर भी आपको प्रिडिक्शंस मिलती हैं. ओके, आई एम दिस डेट बोर्न एंड दिस इज माय सन साइन. सो वो जो आपको प्रिडिक्शंस मिलती हैं, दैट इज अकॉर्डिंग टू द साइन. एंड साइंस कहाँ से आते हैं? दे कम फ्रॉम द प्लैनेट्स. एंड एवरी प्लैनेट हैज एन एलिमेंट. हम सबने सुना होगा ना, हमारे शरीर में 5 तत्व हैं, अर्थ, वाटर, एयर, फायर एंड स्काई. सो दीज एलिमेंट्स आल्सो अ मेजर कंपोनेंट. सो कंपोनेंट्स जो मेजर रहेंगे, वैदिक एस्ट्रोलॉजी की बात कर रहे हैं, 9 planets, and then we have 12 signs. Then of course 12 signs के आगे 27 नक्षत्रास होते हैं, वो भी कंसिडर करे जाते हैं, and the elements as well. So elements कौन से होंगे? जो हमारे तत्वों से हमारा शरीर बना हुआ है. The elements, the which our body is actually made of. कईयों का आप देखोगे बहुत टेम्पर हाई होता है. So that is the fire elements is very dominant in their maybe planetary position, maybe in their horoscope. So that actually, and some people are very, their emotions fluctuate very early, very soon. So sometimes they are saying something and suddenly their mood will change, their mood will fluctuate. They will jump from one decision to the other decision. So maybe their water element, the flowing water element is very much prominent in their horoscope. So components की अगर हम बात करें, of course, astrology cannot be done without the planets, without the rashis, what you call, इसको हम वैदिक एस्ट्रोलॉजी में राशिस कहते हैं, और या मून साइन. और Western astrology में हम sun sign कहते हैं. Then we have the elements. So these are basically the major components which make astrology happen for you. And you would have seen your horoscope या देखा होगा कुंडली कभी देखा होगा कोई फोटो देखा होगा. That is actually the map of the sky at the time of your birth. कि आप जब पैदा हुए थे, when someone is born, so that was the positioning of the planets in the sky at that time. So planets, then these signs and where the signs are placed, and the major thing कि जिसके according पे prediction होती है, that is what is a person's sun sign, where the sun is placed, then the moon sign, where the moon is placed, and also the ascendant, what is the lagna of the person, that is the rising sign. When you were born, what was the rising sign at that time? So this makes astrology, this is the basis, basically. This is the basic components. And keeping in mind that it is geocentric, even the sun is revolving around. Earth is not revolving here, the sun is revolving around the earth. So this is how the astrology is a little different from the a layman thing, like a little different from the science, we can say, but still the calculation is done the same way. Yeah, so that's the components.
वंडरफुल प्रियंका, बट बहुत ही आपने डिटेल में और अच्छे से इसको एक्सप्लेन किया है. तो आई एम श्योर कि हमारे जो व्यूअर्स हैं जो पूरे ग्लोबली हमारे से कनेक्ट हुए हैं वो डेफिनेटली उनको वैल्यू ऐड हुई होगी आज आपकी इस नॉलेज से. सो प्रियंका, हम लोग दूसरे क्वेश्चन की तरफ जाते हैं. हमारा दूसरा क्वेश्चन है, बहुत कंफ्यूजन है कि व्हाट इज डिफरेंस, मतलब एस्ट्रोलॉजी और टैरो में क्या डिफरेंस है. मतलब हमें बहुत सारे लोगों को इसकी क्लियरिटी चाहिए. आप अगर इसके बारे में कुछ बता सके. ओवर टू यू प्रियंका.
Yeah, sure. So this is actually quite confusing, and I myself get many questions related to this. So there are many differences. First of all, kind of question a person asks is also very different. But I'll start from a very relevant point, which I just a little bit I refer to in the first question as well. That when you go to an astrologer, what's the first question an astrologer asks any person, that what is your date of birth, what is your time of birth, and what is your place of birth. Every astrologer has to ask these three things to go ahead and make your horoscope or a kundli. Unless and until your birth chart is not ready, nobody can predict. Like, no astrologer can predict. So that's the first difference. Tarot reader doesn't ask that. Tarot readers don't need your date, time, and place of birth. Now, why? Because astrology needs some calculations. You will see the astrologer doing some calculations. Previously, people used to do it manually. They used to take time, days, and months to make a horoscope. These days, we are blessed. We have our, very wonderful softwares. We just enter the data and we get the horoscope, at that time only. Computers are there, laptops are there. We have many apps doing that, and they are wonderfully bright also. So there are no mistakes in that as well. So, but tarot reader won't ever ask that, won't ever need that. So one thing is there that date, time, and place of birth is required in astrology, and to any astrologer, you will give those birth details. Your horoscope will be similar. The calculations will be similar. Now, the other difference is that when a child is born, just born, at that very moment, you give the details to the astrologer, and astrologer will make the horoscope. And that time only the astrologer can tell that what this person is going to become. Very long-term questions can be asked, or you can just ask like, how is the health going to be? So, though these questions can be answered from tarot as well, but it is not that long-term. You can just ask about the child, how the child is doing, the initial years will be fine. So these things. But astrology, if the astrologer knows the accuracy in the predictions, the astrologer can actually tell that what profession this child is going to opt in life. Even the child is only 1 hour old. That is the authenticity of astrology. I'm not saying here that tarot is not authentic, but the kind of questions. Now, I'll tell you, if astrologically, someone comes to me and asks, okay, ma'am, I am expecting my transfer. So can that happen in that time? I'll open the horoscope and I'll say, okay, that, this is a time when I can see the movement professionally and the things can happen. But what if the same person asks me that, ma'am, I have 3 options of the movement professionally. Can you tell me which one is best for me? right? So in that case, astrology sees the timing that the movement is there, but which option is best? Here, tarot can actually play a good role. So this is the kind of question, like, we just, this is how I read basically, that it is a blend, like you can choose the option from the tarot, option 1, option 2, option 3. So these things cannot be done easily in astrology, though we have an option of Prussian astrology that, we make a chart for that particular time only. And one more thing, if I'm going too deep, then please stop me and just ask me for more clarification, okay? So don't think that, that we have to go by what I'm saying only. So if any doubt comes in your mind when I'm saying something, you can, just tell me to explain more about it. So in astrology, we do have this Prashna astrology thing where we can go for options also, but that is a very, very, very calculated method and very different method rather than the time and date and place of birth astrology. That is a completely different form of astrology. So tarot can give you short-term answers and options, choosing options from 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, many other options. Tarot can also tell you, like, if I have to ask, like, there are 10 people professionally, and which one is best for me, which one is actually my supporter, which one is actually what a person is doing at my back. So to know the character of the third person without having the date, time, and place of the person, tarot can help you. Their astrology cannot help you because astrology is totally based for your horoscope, what you are going to have in your life, not what you are going to experience uh, with a group of people. So their tarot cannot answer you. Astrology cannot answer you. Their tarot can answer you. So the major difference is the scientific calculations we have in astrology. We don't have that in tarot. Tarot is completely dependent on the kind of rapport tarot reader has with the cards or the kind of meditations I am doing in my room or any other reader is doing in their room. What kind of decks? Decks is basically the set of the cards. I show you in the end how it looks like. So that rapport, that meditations, and then working with the elements. Planets are not playing major role in tarot. Even the signs are not playing major role in tarot. Elements, earth, water, air, and fire playing some role in tarot. But without planets and without signs, astrology cannot be done, but tarot can be done. I hope you got your answer.
Yeah, absolutely. आपने कहा कि कोई क्वेश्चन हो तो आप आंसर करें, लेकिन आपका एक्सप्लेनेशन इतना पावरफुल है, इतना सही सटीक वे से आप हमें बता रहे हैं, तो मुझे नहीं लग रहा है कि मैं आपके फ्लो को कहीं डिस्टर्ब हो, और आप कंटिन्यू करिए बहुत अच्छे से. यू आर एक्सप्लेनिंग सच अ वंडरफुल वे. सो मेरा तीसरा क्वेश्चन भी आपने ऑलमोस्ट दे ही दिया था मेरे क्वेश्चन का आंसर कि इज देयर एनी साइंटिफिक बेस ऑन एस्ट्रोलॉजी, तो करीब करीब आपने वो कहा था. फिर भी अगर कुछ आप एनलाइट करना चाहें, कुछ साइंटिफिक बेस है क्या एस्ट्रोलॉजी के पीछे, प्लीज आप उसके बारे में कुछ बताएं.
Yes. For this particular thing, I just give you a one-liner thing. It does have a scientific base, it does have a mathematical base, and it does have an astronomical base. Because the major reason is that डेट, टाइम एंड प्लेस ऑफ बर्थ चाहे मुझे दो, चाहे 10-100 किसी भी एस्ट्रोलॉजर को दो, सबकी कैलकुलेशन एक होगी. यानी कि इसके पीछे एक फॉर्मूला है, कोई फॉर्मूला तो है जिसपे हम वर्क कर रहे हैं. सो दैट मीन्स कि देयर इज सम साइंस बिहाइंड इट, देयर इज सम कैलकुलेशन बिहाइंड इट. अगर वो फॉर्मूला नहीं होगा तो मेरी कुंडली कुछ और बनेगी, किसी और की कुंडली कुछ और बनेगी, किसी और की कुंडली कुछ और बनेगी. बट द थिंग इज दिस प्रेडिक्शन कैन बी डिफरेंट. कि हो सकता है कि मेरा आपके हॉरोस्कोप को देखने का नजरिया कुछ और हो, मेरी प्रिडिक्शन अलग हो सकती है. हो सकता है किसी और की प्रिडिक्शन, कोई हो सकता है किसी और चीज को महत्व दे रहा हो, कोई हो सकता है किसी और प्लैनेट को महत्व दे रहा हो, लेकिन कैलकुलेशन में कोई डिफरेंस नहीं आएगा. जो आपका मून साइन मैं बताऊंगी वही 100 करोड़ एस्ट्रोलॉजर सेम पद्धति से अगर हॉरोस्कोप बनाएंगे वैदिक एस्ट्रोलॉजर की पद्धति से, तो उनका वही का वही हॉरोस्कोप बनेगा. सो डेफिनेटली इट इज साइंटिफिक. और साइंटिफिक इसीलिए है, नहीं तो हमको डेट, टाइम एंड प्लेस की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ती. एंड एज आई एक्सप्लेन टू इन माय फर्स्ट आंसर ओनली दैट योर हॉरोस्कोप इज द मैप ऑफ द स्काई व्हेन यू वर बोर्न. अगर आप जिस टाइम पे जहां पर आप पैदा हुए थे, सिर ऊपर उठाकर देखोगे ना, तो जिस प्लैनेटरी पोजीशन में प्लैनेट्स उस टाइम पे होंगे वही आपका उसी की डायग्राम है. बेसिकली जो कुंडली है ना, दैट इज द डायग्राम. So it has mathematics involved, it has formulas involved, it has astronomy involved, and astrology is completely scientific. There is no doubt about it.
Great. Such a wonderful answer, ma'am, and thank you so much, ma'am. आखिरी जब एस्ट्रोलॉजी या इस टाइप की बातें आती है ना, लोग डरते बहुत है, लोगों के माइंड में बहुत डर होता है, और स्पेसिफिकली काला जादू, लाइक इस टाइप की चीजें होती है, ब्लैक मैजिक और ये सारी चीजें जब आती है, तो क्या आपको लगता है एस्ट्रोलॉजी उसको डिटेक्ट कर सकती है, या डिटेक्ट करने के बाद उसको प्रोटेक्ट किया जा सकता है? स्पेसिफिकली ब्लैक मैजिक आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट. आई एम श्योर आप मेरे क्वेश्चन को समझ पा रहे होंगे. What do you
Of course, yes. And this is a very, I'll say this is a FAQ kind of question, frequently asked question. Like, not many people come to us with this doubt only. कि कुछ है तो नहीं, because it is something which can affect anyone very easily. आपने पहली चीज पूछी कि डिटेक्ट करना is definitely possible, but there are two things over here which I am telling you from my experience, not from my study. I am telling you this from my experience. There I have seen horoscopes where I have seen that that this can happen, this negative energy absorption can happen. But at times I have seen, if the person is mentally very strong and is actually shielding them with some kind of maybe rituals, as you said, is there any way to protect ourselves or something? So even if it is seen from the horoscope that yes, this person is sensitive to these kind of energies. So first of all, there are three different energies. One is black magic, the word which you used. The second is evil eye, जिसको हम बुरी नजर कहते हैं, जो हम कहते हैं कि अपनों की भी लग जाती है, माँ की भी अपने बच्चे को लग जाती है. The second is evil eye. So वो भी आपको एक तरह से नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट करती है, वो भी आपकी एनर्जी ड्रेन आउट करती है, वो भी आपकी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी को अफेक्ट करती है. एंड द थर्ड इज एनी काइंड ऑफ नेगेटिव एनर्जी which is not sent to you intentionally अगर आपको बुरी चीज भेज रहे हैं, that is black magic. But sometimes there are negative energies in the environment कि माहौल कहते हैं ना कि माहौल खराब है, वहां जाके अच्छा नहीं लग रहा. So नेगेटिव एनर्जी है, किसी ने इंटेंशनली आपकी तरफ नहीं भेजी है, पर फिर भी आपने अब्सॉर्ब कर ली है बिकॉज आप सेंसिटिव हो. That sensitivity can actually be seen from a person's horoscope, that yes, this person is little sensitive. So जो लोग इस तरह के होते हैं उनको डेफिनेटली एक गार्ड की जरूरत होती है. And guard can be of any type. When we talk about remedies or any kind of rituals which can be done, I always ask the person that what works best for you. अभी मैं एक बच्चे को, छोटे बच्चे को अगर मैं कहती हूँ and I see कि उसमें कुछ कि सेंसिटिविटी है या नेगेटिविटी एनर्जी कुछ सकती है या कुछ ब्लैक मैजिक जैसा, क्योंकि कई बार क्या होता है, ब्लैक मैजिक हो रहा होता है लेकिन सामने वाला शील्डेड होता है, सामने वाला प्रोटेक्टेड होता है. लेकिन अगर मैं किसी से कहती हूँ कि तुम बैठ के 4 घंटे पूजा करो, मंत्र उच्चारण करो, दैट इज नॉट पॉसिबल फॉर एवरीवन. So we have to see that what kind of remedy basically a person can do, and then only we suggest. Sometimes we go for donations. Donations are, the people who are having money, who can afford to donate, they can do certain kind of donations and they can actually take care of themselves or their families. The people who don't believe in donations कि मुझे पैसे नहीं donate करने, I can do any other kind of puja. Maybe I can light a lamp, maybe I can wear certain kind of clothes, maybe I can wear some gemstones or crystals, or maybe keeping some stuff in my home which will protect me. That also can happen. Even if you don't feel like wearing any kind of jewelry, then we have yantra, we have mantra, we have tantra. So we have different kind of remedies which we can actually offer a person by talking to that person. Don't force remedies on anyone. That's my motto. Don't force, because then people become non-believer. अरे मैंने ये करा और फिर वो कुछ भी नहीं हुआ, and I didn't get the effect at all. So for your question, coming back to your question, black magic and these things can be seen, and the person can be protected as well. And plus there are many people in the market who misguide you also. So when a person is actually telling you, I will tell you one thing over here, the combination of an astrologer and a person who is giving some kind of remedy is not a great combination. Because अगर आप मैं अगर आपको बताती हूँ कि आपको ये प्रॉब्लम है और आप मुझसे ये पूजा कर रहे हैं, so somewhere or the other I am selling my other product also. So आप ऐसे लोगों से हमेशा beware रहें कि जो आपको गाइड कर रहे हैं पर आपको कोई चीज साथ साथ बेच नहीं रहे हैं. They are not selling you anything. When they are selling you, that means they are doing business of the product as well. So आप एक गाइडेंस लो और गाइडेंस के बाद में आप उस चीज को फॉलो करो, बहुत वर्क फॉर यू. हो सकता है आपका जेमस्टोन पहनने का मन नहीं हो सकता है आपका पूजा करवाने का भी मन नहीं हो सकता है आप खुद कुछ अपनी प्रोटेक्शन के लिए खुद पूजा करना चाहते हो, तो वो भी एक पॉसिबिलिटी हो सकती है. बट देयर आर मेनी पॉसिबिलिटीज एंड थिंग्स कैन बी टेकन केयर ऑफ. या
सो थैंक यू सो मच प्रियंका मैम, बहुत ही अच्छे से आपने इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर दिया, जो काफी लोगों के लिए इम्पोर्टेंस था। आई एम श्योर कि जो भी हमारे साथ लाइव इस वक्त जुड़ चुके हैं उन सबको आज कई चीजें आपके माध्यम से नॉलेज मिला हो रिगार्डिंग एस्ट्रोलॉजी, और कई चीजें आपने बहुत अच्छे से बताई। थैंक यू सो मच प्रियंका मैम। एंड विशाल, हाउ वी कैन मूव फॉरवर्ड, आगे कैसे बढ़ सकते हैं? ओवर टू यू, यू कैन गाइड अस। ओवर टू यू विशाल।
So yeah, thank you Anilji, thank you. All the questions you asked were really a great value, and many people, including me, had these doubts on all these aspects of astrology. Many people have misconceptions, and they feel that this never works. But the way Priyanka ji explained about the entire thing, how astrology exactly works, and specifically when you convinced us saying that it's a science, if you go to 1,000 astrologers you will find the same. So that was really a very insightful, and just the last part which you said, that don't go to a person who will sell the same product, that was really genuine, and it's really food for thought. So thank you Anilji. Now I would invite Deepaji to come and ask her questions. If you have any doubts or any questions you would like to ask Priyanka ji, you can please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishal. Hello, everybody. Hi, Priyanka. How are you doing?
I'm good, Deepa. How are you? God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And many blessings for your son also.
Thank you so much. And wish you all a very happy new year to begin the program.
Thank you.
I have few questions which I have wanted to ask. So one of them is omens. So we as human beings, we see something which we relate with our current situations in life, or the situations that one is going through. Are omens also part of astrology, and are they as just that, or they are more than that?
Your question is brief, and the answer is also super brief for that. But with this brief answer, I'll give you an example also, so that you can actually understand. So I have read when I was actually studying. So when I was studying about omens as well, so I was studying. There was a first of all, to make the answer crisp and clear, is that omens is not a part of astrology, because there is no planetary movement involved in that. So unless and until there is a planetary movement, there is some science involved, there is something involved, some calculation involved, then only omens become a part of astrology. But omens is not a part of astrology, because there is no planetary movement. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि सन जब इस राशि में जाएगा तब ये ओमन होगा, तब आपका बिल्ली रास्ता काटेगी. So it doesn't happen that way. So first of all, it is a no, but I'll give you an example over here. So when I was studying about it, I was just telling you. So there was my teacher told me one thing, that there is a simple line in, I think, books by Shakespeare, Julius Caesar, that when beggars die, so there's no comet falling that time. But when a prince dies, so there is heavens are doing to and fro. कि जब beggars की death होती है तभी तो कभी comets नहीं जा रहे होते हैं कि अरे वहां पे देखो तारा टूट गया और ऐसा हो गया. लेकिन prince की जब death हो रही होती है किसी भी story में, तो ऐसी ऐसी चीजें बहुत सारे अपशगुन हो रहे होते हैं. So that means that it is not a part of astrology. So that was one example which my teacher gave to me, which I still remember. But I'll give you my own example. We talk about India. इधर की बात करते हैं. जब बहुत 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 हजारों साल पहले, आपको बताती हूँ, I was again watching a program. I just gather knowledge from here and there. I was just watching a program on the discovery of sweets, मिठाइयाँ कैसे बनी, and I was reading about रसगुल्ला. So रसगुल्ले के बारे में बात हो रही थी, और बहुत ही इनऑस्पिशियस मानते थे पुराने इंडिया में कि जब दूध फट जाता था, when actually दूध फट गया, because दूध was considered as a dairy product, और वो गाय से रिलेटेड है, दूध वहां से आ रहा है, दूध फट गया, दूध खराब हो गया, इसका मतलब घर में कुछ अपशगुन होने वाला है. तो दूध फटना इतना ज्यादा बुरा मानते थे उस टाइम पे. और बाद में जब उन्होंने पनीर की डिस्कवरी करी और छेना की डिस्कवरी करी, तब वो मिठाई के उसमें फॉर्म में आया. सो पहले वो एक बैड ओमन था, लेकिन आज की डेट में आप उसको डेलिबरेटली करते हो, आप घर में पनीर बनाते हो, आप सब कुछ करते हो. सो ओमेन्स आर बेसिकली नॉट अफेक्टिंग अस. An omen is dependent on the cultural, your culture. At some places, seeing a cat is a bad omen. At some places, you will go to Native America, it is a good omen. Same thing is happening with owls also. And there are many omens like that. I'm not only related to animals, ke cat or owl ki hi baat kar rahi hu, but any kind of omen, they are dependent on where you are living, cultural and social background. कहीं पर कोई चीज अच्छी कंसिडर हो रही है, कहीं पर वही चीज बुरी कंसिडर हो रही है. So it is dependent where you are living, and sometimes it is totally dependent on family wise also, कि मेरे घर में ऐसा चलता है, सामने वाला कहेगा नहीं हमारे घर में तो ऐसा नहीं होता है. So it is a very, astrology is a bigger thing, you know, it is applicable on everyone, you know, anyone who is born can have a horoscope, but omen can be different from place to place, family to family, culture to culture, it can be different. And as far as I am a believer, so I don't much believe in omens. ऐसा कह सकती हूँ कि हाँ कुछ में बिलीव करती हूँ, कुछ में नहीं करती हूँ, लेकिन मेरे लिए डिफरेंट होंगे, आपके लिए डिफरेंट होंगे, किसी और के लिए डिफरेंट होंगे. So omens are not very authentic when it comes to predictions. And here, like, you know, कि अगर हम astrology की बात कर रहे हैं, so definitely prediction is one thing, fortune telling is one thing which everybody is looking forward to. So omen के basis पे हम वो चीज नहीं कर सकते. I hope you get your answer.
No, I really got my answer. So we can say that omens are not predictions. Omens are probably very individual thing from what one has learned while growing up and knows. Sometimes we just are in a place in our life where something happens and we equate it to be an
Equate with it. Yes,
Yeah.
it happens, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll just give you an example from my life only. As I gave you the example of owls. So in my childhood, like I had been an observant person since my childhood only. I always used to see an owl and something bad used to happen every time. And later on, when I was doing certain kind of meditations, we have these, you know, meditations where we connect to animals and stuff like that. That time I realized, I'll tell you, some 5 years back only, I realized that owls actually came to me to tell me, to indicate me that something is going to happen. You know, take care of yourself. You know, so
Not
that can be omen, but I was misjudging it rather at that time when I was a child. So
Not
omens do
necessarily
things, but
bad,
we
it
have
could
to
be
learn
good.
them. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, which takes me to my next question.
Yeah.
We hear all kind of things in terms of Vastu Shastra, Jyotish Vidya, numerology. I know you did explain it in your first answer in terms of how it is, but if we were to take each branch and if we were to say how they are interrelated or totally different, first of all, are they interrelated? And if so, how? And if they are not, then stand alone, what is the importance?
Okay, very interesting question though. And as I told you that I'll be talking, the way I'm talking is completely layman language. And here also I'll just connect that way only. So as I told you that astrology has components, उसमें हमने planets की बात करी, we talked about signs, we talked about elements. Numerology में we all of us know, as the name suggests, it's about numbers. We calculate the numbers and then we find out the personality, किसके साथ compatibility and things like that. And when we talk about Vastu, we are talking about the वास्तु of the place कि place कैसी है, चाहे आपकी प्रोफेशनल प्लेस हो, चाहे आपकी पर्सनल प्लेस हो, तो आप उसके बारे में बात कर रहे हो. Now the thing is this, that all three, अभी हमको definitions पता चल गई कि numerology is numbers, astrology is planets, signs and elements, and vastu is about the place, the energies of the place, and how we can make a place of living or professional space, you know, the best for us. Now what it is, all three of them are basically trying to make one individual's life better. कोशिश सभी की यही है कि किसी एक के साथ अच्छा हो जाए, किसी भी any which ways, चाहे वो न्यूमरोलॉजी को यूज करे, चाहे वो एस्ट्रोलॉजी को यूज करे, चाहे वो वास्तु को यूज करे. So motto, bottom line is this, that we have to make the life better. Now what resonates for you, what works for you? Vastu is altogether a different thing because it is not individual thing. But yes, in astrology, we do have vastu options related to the individual. अभी जैसे हम किसी के भी बात करेंगे, the मंदिर has to be in the east direction. सुना होगा शायद आप सबने. अगर आप काम कर रहे हैं, you have to face the north direction. This is universal laws which are applicable on everyone, on me, on you, and on anyone else. But sometimes when we do vastu, based on your horoscopes, then some other direction can be beneficial for an individual. Some other direction will come lucky for the person. So that has to be seen astrologically. But the thing is this, that as we talk about three streams, so they are connected because they are talking about the betterment of a person. But they are something like, I have a problem, say I have a disease. I can go to an allopathic doctor, I can go to a homeopathic doctor, I can go to an Ayurvedic doctor. अब कौन सी दवाई मेरे ऊपर लगेगी? हम कहते हैं ना, अरे होम्योपैथिक मुझे सूट नहीं करती. आपने सुना होगा, मेरे को, जैसे मैंने होम्योपैथिक का नाम लिया, होम्योपैथिक डजंट वर्क ऑन मी, तो मुझे तो आयुर्वेदिक सूट करती है. सो दैट इज बेसिकली व्हाट इज रेजोनेटिंग टू यू. आपको क्या काम करता है, आपके लिए क्या चलता है. एस्ट्रोलॉजी के लिए समथिंग जो सब पे चलती ही चलती है, आप मानो चाहे नहीं मानो, आप विश्वास करो चाहे नहीं करो, बट इट इम्पैक्ट्स एवरीवन्स लाइफ. हमारे कुछ दिन अच्छे होते हैं, कुछ दिन बुरे होते हैं. So of course there is something happening at the background on that map of the sky which is actually impacting us. इधर बात करते हैं न्यूमरोलॉजी की. So न्यूमरोलॉजी is limited to 9 numbers. 9 numbers पे limited है, and all the people are actually divided into those 9 number, और उन्हीं के साथ हम compatibility ढूंढते हैं, उन्हीं के साथ हम nature ढूंढते हैं. लेकिन बहुत ज्यादा अगर हम बात करें कि what profession to take, medically कोई problem आ जाए, medical एस्ट्रोलॉजी में आंसर्स हैं मेडिकल प्रॉब्लम्स के, बट न्यूमरोलॉजी में वो आंसर्स नहीं मिलेंगे, वास्तु में वो आंसर्स नहीं मिलेंगे. वास्तु में इतना जरूर कह सकते हैं कि इनका बेड इस डायरेक्शन में नहीं, इस डायरेक्शन में कर दो. बट इफ वी वर्क इन अ कॉम्बिनेशन, देन ऑफ कोर्स इट इज अबाउट द बेटरमेंट ऑफ लाइफ. दे आर इंटरकनेक्टेड बिकॉज दे कैन मेक समवन्स लाइफ बेटर, बट not the same thing because basis is different. Vastu is something different. Numerology is only numbers, no planets involved, no nothing involved. But yes, resonation कह देते हैं कि this number is resonating with this or this planet, but not completely devoted to that planet. Astrology is completely different. अगर हम total package की बात करें तो total package is actually astrology because उसमें वास्तु भी आ जाता है, उसमें आपका numerology भी आ जाता है. और ये थोड़े एस्ट्रोलॉजी के पार्ट्स नहीं कहूंगी, बट ये कि थोड़ा सा उसमें से अंश में आ सकते हैं. बट एस्ट्रोलॉजी इज द कंप्लीट पैकेज.
Understood. That was very well explained. Thank you. My next question is, now we have our own Indian way of Vedic astrology. Then there is a Western astrology, which is, side by side to Indian astrology. What is the primary difference? How is it separated from our Vedic astrology, Western astrology?
There are many differences as such, but जो major बताऊंगी वो आपको 2 या 3 बताती हूँ. One thing is this, as I was telling you in the beginning, that astrology what we do is geocentric, and actually में जो science में है वो heliocentric है, that sun is in the center and here the earth is in the center. But when we talk about the Western astrology, वो weightage देते हैं sun sign को, जहां पे सन प्लेस्ड है. आप जब भी अपना हॉरोस्कोप पढ़ोगे मैगजीन्स में तो आपका सन साइन होगा, डेट टू डेट होगा कि फ्रॉम 21st of January to 22nd of February ये वाला साइन है. 20s के आसपास में उनके साइंस चेंज होते हैं. सो दैट इज वेस्टर्न एस्ट्रोलॉजी. दोज प्रिडिक्शंस आर बेस्ड ऑन वेस्टर्न एस्ट्रोलॉजी. तो वो सन सेंट्रिक है. और जो हमारी वैदिक एस्ट्रोलॉजी है उसमें हम बात करते हैं राशि की. राशि इज वेयर योर मून साइन इज प्लेस्ड. सो वी बेसिकली सी मून. I believe more in Vedic astrology because moon changes position approximately in 2.5 days. वो 2.5 days में एक साइन से दूसरे साइन में आ जाएगा. Whereas आप सन देखोगे 1 महीने तक एक ही साइन में टिकेगा. Right? That is the first difference कि वो सन साइन पे बेस्ड होते हैं और हम मून साइन पे बेस्ड होते हैं, राशि पे बेस्ड होते हैं. Second difference is this, we only believe in 9 planets: Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, and Jupiter, and this Venus and Saturn and Rahu and Ketu. Whereas इस सब के साथ में वेस्टर्न एस्ट्रोलॉजी में आपका नेपट्यून भी आ जाता है, आपका यूरेनस भी आ जाता है और आपका प्लूटो भी आ जाता है. वो उसकी भी मूवमेंट को देखते हैं. सो दैट इज सेकेंड बिग मेजर डिफरेंस. हम नेपट्यून, यूरेनस, प्लूटो को हम कंसिडर नहीं करते हैं. देन थर्ड डिफरेंस, द वे दे मेक अ हॉरोस्कोप. आपने हमारा हॉरोस्कोप देखा होगा, दैट लुक्स लाइक अ स्क्वायर और अ रेक्टेंगल. जो हमारा इंडियन वैदिक होता है उसके बीच में हमारे कुछ लाइंस लगे होते हैं, डायमंड्स जैसे फिगर्स होते हैं. उनका हॉरोस्कोप आप देखोगे राउंड होता है, गोल सर्कल में बना होता है हॉरोस्कोप. सो दैट इज अनदर डिफरेंस. सो दीज आर द डिफरेंस. बट जो मेजर डिफरेंस है दैट इज द नंबर ऑफ प्लैनेट्स दे यूज and the number of planets we use. And then they are sun-centric and we are moon-centric. So that is the major difference.
Right. And they also have a sign to denote each sun sign.
Yes, yes, of course, that is sign to send. As I was just telling you that 20th of a particular month and the 20th of particular month, so their signs are there. So that is there. If you are
And we
talking
don't
about
have that.
symbols, by saying signs, are you saying symbols? Do you mean symbols?
Yeah, symbols. We don't have that, or we? How is ours?
We
different?
also have that. We also have that. We have symbols of signs as well, and we have symbols of nakshatras as well. Though they don't have nakshatras in their astrology, there will be signs only, these 12 signs. But here we have under that 12 signs ki division mein, we have 27 nakshatras also. There we don't have nakshatras. So we have symbols of signs as well. We have symbols of nakshatras as well. Whereas in they also have the same symbols. Symbols can be same. एंड दे आर बेसिकली मेनी सिंबल्स. आप अगर एरीज की बात करोगे तो एरीज के भी आपको 10-12 सिंबल्स मिल जाएंगे जो कि दोनों एस्ट्रोलॉजी में यूज होते हैं.
Right. Thank you for explaining that. That brings me to my last question. That's about predictions. Predictions in life. Are they important? Are they helpful? And if they are helpful, how one can use them, especially to deal with the difficult situations in life. If you could just elaborate on that.
Yes. Great question. And they are extremely useful. The answer is yes. First of all, I'll explain you why. So when we talk about astrology, the whole idea is to make the life better. And when we go to an astrologer, it is always go before the problem arises. It is not like that you are going to a doctor when the problem is there. When you have a medical issue, then you are getting your reports done and then you are asking for the medicine. Though people come with that intention only. People come to us when they are into the problem already. But it is always good to visit the astrologer or maybe get your horoscope made when the child is born so that you can foresee the things. It's all about foreseeing. It's all about future telling. So you can plan your life accordingly. So if you would have heard, here I am the biggest example here. If you would have heard my introduction, you heard that I was an HR person earlier and then I did this. So when I see my daughter's horoscope now, I know that what career is she going to take and I'll go for the same kind of education. I'll not make her do MBA and then do astrology. You know, what I did my journalism, I did my MBA. Then I thought, no, this is not the thing which I'm going to do. Then I did my Jyotishacharya. So that was a lot of time, energy and money wastage, which I did for 5 years. If I would have known that I'm going to do this, I would have done this. I wouldn't have wasted. Today I have 20 years of experience. I would have 25 years of experience now because I would have been into the right stream. So future planning is required before the future is actually coming to you. So you must visit an astrologer. You must take the guidance at the right time. I won't recommend to take the guidance for your child till the child is 12 years old. Unless and until there is some health issue. If there is some health issue, then we can tell some remedies, then we can tell some donations maybe for the child so that the health gets better. And we can see that which planet is actually creating the issue, which planet needs to be, calmed down. So we can do that. But otherwise, till 12 years, you just hold down. After the child is 12 years of age, you go to an astrologer, you ask that which career this child will take, which education is best for you, what is beneficial. That is one thing. Second thing is I'll not say minimize the negative effects. Normally, astrologers use that language that minimize the negative effects, whichever is there in your horoscope. I talk maximize the benefits of your horoscope. Whatever the good things you are having in your chart, must use it rather than concentrating on what negatives you have in your horoscope. Find out what is the best for me, what is the best business I can do, what is the best option I can have, which is the best partner for me. How I can basically make my life better. What are my strengths and how can I work on my weaknesses? So these kind of questions should be asked in astrology so that you can make your life better. And आपको ये पता रहे अगर कि अरे मेरा तो अभी समय सही नहीं है, मुझे अभी इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं करना है, तो आपका पैसा डूबने से बच सकता है. आप रॉन्ग इन्वेस्टमेंट्स में, अगर हो सकता है कि मैं कहूँ आप इन्वेस्टमेंट्स आप बैंकिंग में करो, या आप पैसे को ज्वेलरी में करो, या सोने में पैसा लगाओ, या फिर आप लैंड्स में लगाओ, सो आपका पैसा कहाँ मल्टीप्लाई होगा? सो दैट डिपेंड्स ऑन द काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन. अगर आपको पैसे की ग्रोथ के बारे में बात करनी है, मेडिकली अगर हम बात करें, there are planets which gives you certain medical conditions, so आप उस planet को पहले से ही थोड़ा शांत करके रख दो. अगर there is a very famous this thing, you know, remedy which I tell to people, कि एक दशा होती है हमारी जो planet आपको घर से बाहर निकालता है. so अब आपको planet घर से बाहर निकालता है तो आपको हॉस्पिटल भी भेज सकता है और आप कहीं घूमने भी जा सकते हो. so इससे बेटर है कि आपको पता चल जाए कि ये मेरा बाहर जाने का टाइम है, तो आप खुद ही घूमने का प्लान बना लो. So that kind of astrology you should be having in your life. So that kind of questions, and you actually can make your life better if you are if you are basically visiting the astrologer beforehand, so that you can plan your future. This is basically future planning.
Right.
Right?
Understood. Yes. Thank you so much for your.
Yeah. God bless you.
Thank you.
Great. So, Deepaji, thank you so much. And of course, this set of questions were very informative. And the answers, the way you answered all the questions with giving examples, that made it really so simple for a layman to understand. So, thank you so much. So, yeah, we are a little bit running short of time. So, I would now request Shri Dayal Harjani, Aka Dadu Zen, to please come and say a few words.
I'm not here to say a few words.
Welcome again.
There are a lot of questions packed up in my mind now.
Yeah,
Priyanka ji,
a lot of. Yes.
It was good. Your answers were good and informative. I have few doubts and few questions which I'll shoot out to you right now. There's a lot of fear mongering going on amongst astrologers. They say blanket statements, ye planets kharab hai. When you read like that, you know, you get into fear syndrome. I myself have been a victim, so I know how it feels, because the fear eats you up. भाई ये साढ़ी सती चल रही है, अभी तुम्हारा ये डामाडोल होएगा, और ये मंगल आ गया है, मंगल ये मंगली है, ये, you know, these kind of blanket statements are dangerous. I think it's beyond the proper protocol of any astrologer to make such great vivid remarks. Like, this is bad. Personally, I'll explain you where I'm coming from so you can answer me accordingly. Planets are not bad by themselves. Why we have to tell them like, this planet is bad and that planet is bad? They are all indicators. They are not absolute. They can only indicate something. So the question is that there are two sides of the story. One, the person who comes to an astrologer must have a proper protocol of not to ask too many questions of divination or what's going to happen in the future. That is dangerous. And the astrologer's protocol is not to make them instill fear into their mind. So what is the proper protocol? Can you explain on that?
Yeah. So definitely instilling fear into anyone's mind is not a good thing. But at the same time, me being an astrologer myself, I do believe in authenticity. And I do believe that if there is something which I see is not favorable for the person, then I must make the person aware of it. But I have to be very choosy with the language, that what words I am picking up. I must not scare the person. कि वो डर में जीना शुरू कर दे. We don't want that to happen. We just want the person to be prepared of any kind of thing happening, and we can just, as I was just explaining earlier also, if there is some dashna like that coming, that the person has to go out, you can recommend, you know, the person to make a travel plan. But at the same time, there are few people who already have visited, you know, many astrologers, and they already think, you know, people will come to me and they will directly say कि life में कुछ अच्छा नहीं चल रहा, मैम कुछ भी ठीक नहीं होता. So they are already coming with a very pessimistic approach. So we have to see that what approach we are going to take. अगर मैं किसी का horoscope देखती हूँ and I see the person is actually low, but the horoscope is not that low, so that means the person thought process is actually low. I give you a, you know, we have little times. I can talk for 2 minutes, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So, as in the beginning, when you picked up that Doha that talked about the karma thing, so that was again a coincidence and a divine intervention that, that particular page opened and then you read that Doha about karma. So there are two major things which we need to have a life. One is definitely air and water, right? So when we came into this world, when first human came into this world, air and water was already there. But very essential thing which wasn't there was fire. But that was invented by humans. So our karmas are like fire. We have to do something. That is the essence of living. We have to do something. So it wasn't there, but we created it. And here, when someone is coming to me, is already with a pessimistic approach, I'll have to tell that person, no, this is not happening in your horoscope. The horoscope looks nice. Then I'll have to see what my approach is. I'll have to stimulate that person for all the good things which are existing in that very horoscope of that person. But because of the environment, the person is being pessimistic. And definitely, if I see someone's horoscope where I am foreseeing that something negative can happen, that in a very subtle way, I'll have to tell that to that person, not by scaring that person. This is a quality of an astrologer, that what kind of language you are using. You have to say your thing also, but that has to impact the person also, and at the same time, the person should not get scared of that. So
True.
yeah, so that is something I will say a skill, because when we were studying, we actually learned this part of communication as well. So it has to be communicated. You cannot hide the things because you have to be authentic. Somewhere in the mind, the person has to be prepared for it. Okay, that this is coming and this is how I will have to shield myself. But at the same time, being too much thinking about कि अभी खराब है, फिर तो मैं भी नहीं जी सकती हूँ. If I keep all those calculations in my mind, if I keep on checking Murat every time, so then it is tough for an astrologer also to survive. So
So then
every time, yeah,
in that case, astrologer should be a good psychologist.
yeah, psychologist
Otherwise,
also,
it won't
and
work.
definitely
Because
good communicator,
any
a good
wrong word that you
communicator.
use will slip out
Mhm.
into his subconscious mind, and
Yes,
it'll create that circumstances, negative circumstances.
yes, it happens because when
That is
people come
why
to us,
I
they
believe
just
that
come to us with a
one has to
very
be very
distant mind to
careful.
whatever you are saying.
So then, in that case, then people who come to astrologers should restrict themselves from for only certain questions, like finding the genetic predisposition, like if a child is born. So you cannot confirm by what he is going to become for certain. You can only give a genetic predisposition. You can only say
Yes.
that the child has got certain indications, certain values or sanskar to become this. But you cannot be absolute, because astrology is not 100% thing, right? You think is
Actually, a single planet, if I just give you an example of, say, Mercury, that is one planet, but at the same time, Mercury can make a person financier also, the person can go in banking. Mercury is a communicator also. Mercury is looking after IT field also. So all these fields, and maybe Mercury is communication, so it can be something related to public relations. It can be person going into law. So all these fields can be opted, which is related to communication only. So we can just tell the parent, okay, this your child has this planet strong, and he will do something in this field, and let them opt. That is the area of the free will.
good. So basically, I would recommend that people should go only to check the predisposition of the person so that they can improve upon it or be guided into that particular channel,
Yes, true that.
so that they can choose their vocation in life in accordance with their sanskars or their impressions that they have gained in their past karma. So that way
It is
astrology can guide them.
it is about planning the life
Now there's one
according to
thing
your
that
karma.
comes
It
out.
is a life planner.
Many people, when they say abhi iska upay hai, they
Hmm.
bring into Lord Shiva, Hanuman ji, Devi ji. Now, how did the introduction of gods come into astrology? When you're talking about
Actually,
planets,
every planet, yeah, there are
God
ways
is
where
one.
we can see.
No, my belief, God is one. So
Hmm.
why do you have to pray to a multitude of gods for a certain, certain restoration of your life or whatever, or salvation?
Um, I myself believe that the God is one, that power, supreme power is one only. But when we see astrologically, so what here I can tell you is that there are two kind of Dev which we believe in. One is Kul Dev or Kul Devi, which is dependent on the family or the kind of background you are coming from. Then one we have Isht Dev. Isht Dev is a term which comes कि आपको किसकी prayer करने से benefit होगा. Supreme is one only. That is my belief also कि Supreme one है. बट मान लो कि मुझे अपनी प्रमोशन करवानी है अपने ऑफिस में, लेकिन मैं बात कर रही हूँ अपने बच्चे से कि बेटा मेरी प्रमोशन करवा दो, समथिंग लाइक दैट, कि हमको बात कहीं और करनी है और हम बात कहीं और कर रहे हैं. सो अगर आप ईस्ट से कनेक्ट होते हो अपने, और अगर हम एस्ट्रोलॉजी में देयर आर वेज वेयर वी कैन एक्चुअली फाइंड आउट हु इज ईस्ट. प्लैनेट्स के गॉड डिफरेंट है, लाइक कि अगर मैं मार्स की बात करूंगी तो मंगल हम कहेंगे कि हनुमान जी हैं. शनि की बात करूंगी तो शनि देव टेम्पल में चले जाओ. मंडे की अगर मून की बात करूंगी तो शिव जी की पूजा करो. बट अगर हम ईस्ट कैलकुलेट करते हैं, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ कैलकुलेशन. सो वन इज दिस कि एक प्लैनेट को शांत करने के लिए भगवान है. देन ईस्ट देव कि आपकी लाइफ में क्या अच्छा कौन कर सकते हैं, बेसिकली हु इज रूलिंग योर लाइफ. आपके ईस्ट कौन है, हु इज द रूलर ऑफ योर लाइफ, तो आप उनकी पूजा कर सकते हो. बट जो एक बिलीफ है ना, कर्मा की बिलीफ के वट एवर आई एम सेंडिंग इन टू द यूनिवर्स एंड दैट इज मल्टीप्लाइड एंड कमिंग बैक टू मी, that is the supermost thing. Supreme power is definitely one. But yes, we have gods which can be seen astrologically. We have gods which can be connected to the planets as well. And जब हम planet को शांत करते हैं, तो हम उस god की पूजा कर लेते हैं. Yes.
Yeah. So how do you determine the Ishta Devta of a person? And if a foreigner comes to you, he does not have a Ishta Devta. So then how do you, relate? How can you foresee who's the Ishta Devta of which from the astrology chart you can determine, or what?
Yes, we can determine. That's a way, that's a process. We do certain calculations and then it can be determined. And if a foreigner is coming to me, of course, the person doesn't know the Ish Devta, but we do need date, time, and place of birth to guide him. So if we get the date, time, and place of birth, we can actually tell anyone their Ish Devta. Maybe you are not aware, and believe me for this. Whenever we have told the Ish Devta to someone, so it is always like that the person has given me the response, कि I always feel connected to him. Yeah, I always feel connected to her. That particular god or goddess, कि कहीं ना कहीं अंदर से उनको वो connection feel होता है. So the moment they will see their picture, the moment maybe they will just cross their temple, they will have certain kind of stimulation inside them. बिकॉज आपको अवेयरनेस नहीं है, लेकिन आप जब किसी के मुंह से सुन लेते हो आपको पता चलता है कि अच्छा मुझे इसलिए ऐसा फील होता है. सो दैट हैपेंस. सो देयर इज अ पैटर्न which can be calculated. The Ish Devta can be calculated through anyone's horoscope, whether the person is from India or any other country. But we do need date, time, and place of birth to make the horoscope and do those calculations.
Then in that case, there are other upay measures which they give by मछली को खिलाओ या ants को खिलाओ या ये करो वो. What are all these? From where did they come in, fit into astrology?
Actually, these are all the animals are also related to planets, but the upayas which you just mentioned, मछली को खिलाओ या चींटी को खिलाओ, there is a book called Lal Kitab. So there are totkas into that, these small tips which are universal in nature. कि मैं किसी को भी बोल दूं, अच्छा आपको जॉब नहीं मिल रही, मछली को खिलाओ, आटे की गोली खिलाओ, उनको आटे का बूरा डालो. This is from लाल किताब, ये वहां से आई गई है और ये मेरे एक्सपीरियंस से हर एक किसी पे अप्लाई नहीं होती. सो दिस इज समथिंग कि आप बता तो देते हो कि ये चीज आप करो. सो मेनी पीपल आर एक्चुअली टेलिंग इट, बट ये हर एक किसी पे वर्क नहीं करता. कि जैसे कि हर एक मेडिसिन किसी पे वर्क नहीं करती. यू हैव टू सी, आपको अगर स्पेसिफिक में जाना है, then the remedy has to be according to your horoscope rather than the remedies which you just find online. So that at times they don't work.
We will have to meet personally to discuss more. Because
Sure.
this is an endless discussion. I'll come to Delhi very soon and we'll talk about this more because time is running out. But I'll ask you one last question. We have still a few minutes more. I was reading something about planting different kind of trees depending on your nakshatra. So do you have that knowledge or what?
I have that knowledge, but definitely I don't memorize all the names of the trees. So that can be shared. And, that is logical, even not only to the nakshatras, but also to the planets. And also I'll tell you over here that when people recommend these gemstones to wear, even if you wear the root of that particular tree, then also it brings the same benefits as the gemstone. So if you are aware
So,
about the tree, if you get the root or the stem of that tree also. So here on my table, I'll show you. I have this wooden piece. This is of anar ki kalam. So anar इसका stem है ये ना. So these actually play a lot of roles. These trees and this is all fauna. तो अगर आप gemstone की बात करते हो, so these trees also play the same role. Nakshatras के भी trees हैं, planets के भी trees हैं. You can arrange the roots; they will work as gemstones only, and you can just keep any part, so that will work.
so what are the benefits of why they say it's a specific tree depending on your nakshatra must be planted? So what do you benefit by it?
Like we have colors dedicated to the planets, so like that there are some plants and trees also dedicated to certain planets and these nakshatras. We do have different elements. आपने सुना होगा कि पंच तत्वों से पूजा करो, तो उसमें हम धूप भी जलाते हैं, हम उसमें अगरबत्ती भी जलाते हैं. कई बार आपने देखा होगा हवन में डिफरेंट तरह की सामग्री डालते हैं, तो सामग्री में भी बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं. सो दैट इज बेसिकली टू अपीज दैट पर्टिकुलर लॉर्ड. So this all is basically connected, that what is connected to that particular element or maybe planet or maybe nakshatra. So this is how, and the same thing is with gemstones only. Like अगर हम बात करें जुपिटर की, so sapphire is the pukhraj is basically the yellow sapphire, or pukhraj is the gemstone of Jupiter. So now what happens, there is no answer to that particular why, but yes they are connected. Same thing Jupiter में ही आएगा, बेल का वृक्ष, जो बेल का पेड़ होता है, so वो जुपिटर के कैटेगरी में आता है. So these are connected. So planetaries and planets and nakshatras, they are all connected to gemstones also. So that is also a product of the nature. Nature ने ही gemstones को बनाया है, trees को भी nature ने ही बनाया है. So इस तरह से आपका connection रहता है.
Okay, last question. If planets are only indicators, correct?
Yes.
Then why must we do puja of any planet? What for? They are only indicating our own karma. They are reflecting our own karma. The situation of the stars accumulate together to give us a certain indication, right? By themselves, they are not bad. They are only
True that.
indicating,
True
reflecting
that.
our own karma. Correct.
True that.
So if they are reflecting our karma, we should be thankful to them, but not despise them.
That's actually the crux. ये गीता का ज्ञान बोल रहे हो आप कि जो होना है वो होना ही है, और हमें हमें किस लिए क्या करना है, बट कर्म करना है. And doing puja is also a kind of a karam. That is basically, one thing is that we are existing and we are not doing any karam. That is only our existence. When we talk, we are living. So that means we are acting. We are doing something. We are doing some karma. Doing puja is also a kind of a karma. So आप पूजा कर रहे हो, किसी पर्टिकुलर प्लैनेट की करो, या अपनी मर्जी से ध्यान लगाओ, मेडिटेशन करो, इनर में अपने अंदर में उतर जाओ, अंतर मन में उतर जाओ, वो आपके ऊपर है. बट इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट टू कनेक्ट टू दैट सुप्रीम वंस इन योर वे, जिस भी ढंग से आप चाहो. तो दिस इज व्हाट आई
That's
बिलीव
the
इन.
right answer. Because if you have your guru and you are doing meditation, then you don't have to do other superfluous things. Then your action towards other planets becomes superfluous. So why are you wasting time? I mean, you just go to one guru and one path and meditate, and everything will come by itself. Everything will fall,
Yes, there has
fall
to
into
be any
place.
form basically. There has to be any form. So आप किसी भी वे में कनेक्ट हो, चाहे प्लैनेट्स के थ्रू हो. प्लैनेट्स के होने में लोगों को ना एक तरह से ऐसा लगता है कि जबरदस्ती की पूजा कर रहे हैं. So always the puja should come from within, that I feel like doing it. Then only it is going to solve some purpose. If you are forcing yourself to do
Yeah.
any kind of puja, it's not going to solve any purpose.
I think it's, in my opinion, I may be wrong, but it's better to serve the poor and help the people around us rather than go and ring temple bells and put gold into the murtis and do all these kind of things. To serve a poor man I think is a gift of God. I mean, it's a good karma by itself.
Yes, that's your definition of puja. This is also a form of a prayer. This also is a prayer. Like I won't say that prayer is only when you are lighting a lamp or something. So
Correct.
everybody can have a different definition of their prayer. This is the way I pray. This is the way I connect to my God or to the Almighty. This is
Correct.
most wonderful, I'll say.
ठीक है, we'll end with that because serving the poor in love and devotion, it becomes a prayer by itself, I think.
Yes.
And then we'll connect when I'm in Delhi or on the phone now that I've met you, and we'll discuss
Sure.
more. Now I'll
Sure.
request, I'll thank you, Anil, for your presence, and also thanks to Deepa. And Vishal, please go ahead with your prayer, and let's end the show on a good note. Thank you, Priyanka ji. Thank you very much
Thank you so
for your
much.
elaborations, and we shall continue at a later date.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dada. Thank you for
Vishal?
your kind, thank you, Dada, for your kind words. And it's time to wrap up now. It was a great session. I will just say two things which is my takeaway, and everybody should know about this. So the first thing the major concentration of the area of concentration was karma. Karma is inevitable, and whatever you do, what you sow is what you reap. Secondly, is
Correct.
the connect with the supreme power. If you connect with the supreme power in a right manner with guidance of people like Priyanka ji, who exactly tell us what exactly to do and how and when. So if you have good karma and you have a connection with Lord, your life is set. You'll be always happy. This is what I learned from this session in a short note. And
Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Krishna.
I'll just wrap up with a prayer. So prayers are important in life, and today's prayer is reflecting the today's topic, which is ego. Most of the time I feel that ego comes by two things. One is when you speak something bad or something you speak which the person doesn't like. You didn't speak with a wrong intention, but the person perceived it with wrongly. That word. And 80% is caused by speaking, and 20% I think is caused sometimes by your actions. Some kind of action you have done or your body language where the other person feels that his ego is hurt. So it's a short prayer.
I'll explain that to you later on in detail.
It's a short prayer.
That what we're talking is symptomatic. You see, in the Eastern philosophy, all these aspects of self-importance, self-worth, and all these are symptomatic. These are symptoms.
Right. Correct.
The actual ego, how it forms, is when the soul identifies itself with your body and mind.
Right.
That is the ego.
Right.
And the whole process of spirituality is to go back to your inner self. Suppose we are all going to die one day. So we know we are not the body. But still we insist on living as a body, right?
Yes,
So we have to realize on a daily basis that we are not the body, we are not the mind, because you can look at your thoughts. So obviously, I who can look at my thoughts, I'm not the mind, right? So then who am I is a process. This inner journey has to be balanced by the external journey. So we have to find a balance between external life and internal life. But how ego is formed is, as has been explained to you, all others are symptoms of ego.
Correct. Thank you, Dada. That was quite insightful. Yeah, great. So I'll just wrap up with a prayer.
Please.
So it is, again, I'll repeat, it is just it's about ego. इतनी कृपा मेरे ईश्वर हम पर करना, इतनी कृपा मेरे ईश्वर हम पर करना, जो मार्ग सच का हो उस पर चलाए रखना, ना दुखे हृदय किसी का हमारे शब्दों से कभी, ना दुखे हृदय किसी का हमारे शब्दों से कभी, इतनी कृपा हम पर बनाए रखना है ईश्वर, इतनी कृपा हम पर बनाए रखना. बस इतनी सी मेरी छोटी सी प्रेयर थी. Maybe the message is clear and loud.
Then I will end with this one poem from my book, which is मैं तो सिर्फ एक बंसी भोला, मैं तो सिर्फ एक बंसी भोला, दास हूँ जिसके गुण हैं 16, दास हूँ जिसके गुण हैं 16, उसकी मर्जी उसे बजाना, मैं तो सिर्फ आशिक परवाना.
Wow.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. It was a great, insightful show. And the recording is available on the YouTube channel. If someone has missed the show, you can forward the recording to your near and dear ones. They can have benefit out of it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hari Om.
Priyanka ji,
Thank you.
thank you. Anil ji, once again.
Thank you.
Vishal.
Thank you, Dada. Thank you.